Hey, beautiful people. Gene Williams here. You may know me from Where's the Love, but we are coming to you with Unbreakable Souls, Men Gaining Strength from Trauma. And I probably said the name wrong. I probably didn't as well. But the goal of this show is to discuss things from a male standpoint, which is often not discussed. So to help me break down the old paradigm and create a new one is my good buddy, Coach G.
Hey, what's up, my brother?
How you doing, man?
I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah, you see that back there behind him? Unbreakable Souls, Men Healing Through Strength. I was like, I said it wrong.
You good, man? You good? By the time we're done, they're going to get it. They're going to get
right,
it.
Right. Yeah, I'm a little nervous. This is a new one, so, it's all good.
Right. I say you're not ready if you're not nervous. I mean, I remember back in my playing days and how I'd be nervous and sick before every game. And,
I
feel like that kept me cutting edge because I always wanted to give my best.
Right, so, exactly. Yeah, and also if you're not nervous, you don't really care. So
right. No passion behind it. So I know we bring a lot of passion behind this.
Oh, yeah. So, absolutely. Man, I'm excited to get into this one because, again, like I said before, this is a topic that rarely gets touched in society. It's looked over, any man who shows any vulnerability or softness, they get looked down upon. And we got to break that paradigm. We are allowed to express our feelings. And if we don't, then we have what transpires in this world. We have a lot of men being violent, and unfortunately, having health issues, mental, spiritual, emotional health issues. And just, it's time to break that paradigm, break down those walls so that we can be free to be ourselves.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's what I'm hoping everyone, in particular our men, I mean, this is a voice to our sisters out there too, because you need to understand a man. But before a woman can understand a man has to understand a man. And the stigma out there is that to be a man, you can't be emotional. You can't be expressive. And to say we're not expressive, we are very expressive, just sometimes the wrong way. So the example or the model that I utilize in my life is David from the Bible. David was probably the bloodiest man in the Bible. He wanted to build a temple to honor the Lord. But the Lord was like, nah, man, your hands are too bloody. And obviously I'm paraphrasing, but he was like, no, your hands are too bloody. And he passed it on to his sons. So he was the ultimate warrior, killer, that protector, that thug when he needed to be, that dog, that warrior. But he also was gentle, tender, kind, loving to his wife, to his children. That's my model, man. I want to be great in all aspects of emotion. I think too much of anything is bad. So too much emotion is bad, but not enough emotion. Right, exactly. It's got to be balanced. So that's who I'm trying to become, man, is one that can roar when I need to roar, but also can be gentle and kind and loving to those in my space, as well. So
And I love one of the symbols that I love that you see in Christian paradigms often is the lion laying with the lamb. And to me, what that signifies is the, naturally the lion is the aggressor. He's the king of the jungle. He's, anyone that comes up in his space, he's tearing them up. He's going to devour them. But just with that particular picture, it just shows that you can be strong and ferocious and also be soft. And so a lot of times, like you said, we have been taught to be two-dimensional. We're just this. And there's no more behind that. And that's where we go wrong. That's why, unfortunately, men commit suicide a lot more. They have heart issues, mental health issues that go unchecked. And it's because we're taught to not explore the fullness, the wholeness of who we are.
Right. Exactly. I mean, it's going to come out eventually. We've known that. I mean, statistics show that. Society shows that. What comes in will come out. So to me, a man, I want to manage when that comes out. I don't want that to come out because when it comes out, it's going to come out at the absolute worst possible time in my life. That's my story, bro. I've shared a little bit, but that's my story. I was the warrior. my entire life. Ran a program called Warrior Hoops. My mandate from the Lord was to build warriors by any means necessary, and I'm still doing that. But one thing that's changed within me is I understand that the warrior has to come off the wall and be soft sometimes too.
Right.
And it's okay to come off that wall and say, "Hey, I need help.
Right.
I need support. I need encouragement." Or sometimes, man, just a brother just need a break.
Right. Yeah.
Just sometimes you need a break. Sometimes you've been gunned on, you got that target on your back all day, and you've been gunning and grinding all day, and you just want to come home and be soft.
Right.
And I mean, that's a whole nother topic, but when you come home, you want to be soft. When you're with your woman, you with your family, you want to be soft. You want them to see those softer sides of you. And I just think, I'm not sure if a lot of men have that experience, that in all phases of their lives, they have to be hard all the time,
Right. Yeah. It's like you always have to have your defenses up or that wall up, and that's exhausting.
It's exhausting. Right.
Yeah. Because the world is always at you. The world is always at you, especially as a black man. The world is always at you. You do this, you look a certain way, then you're feared. If you talk a certain way, you're feared. Personally, I have that experience. I'm a bald head black man with tattoos, muscles, and piercings. They're all of, if I express myself, passionately, oh no, I'm afraid.
Yeah. Our passion equates fear.
Exactly. Right.
Isn't that crazy that you want a man to be expressive in his feelings and his emotions, but when you're a black man in America, your passion, just your love, your passion, your excitement is viewed as fear.
Right.
It's just crazy.
Yeah, it's insane. It's insane. And a lot of the, can I say, like the social climate kind of fosters that. You hear the story of the angry black man, all the time. And it's like, no, maybe he was just passionate about what he was feeling, or he didn't have an outlet to constructively let those feelings out. So because he wasn't taught a constructive way to deal with them, then it's natural to be destructive. It's like a teapot. You close that top and you put enough heat on it, it's going to eventually, you're going to hear that hiss coming out, that high pitched hiss. It's got to come out. So we have to find a constructive way to do that. And this is why I love what we're doing here, because we need to equip others with the tools that we are gaining.
Right, man. I think a big thing that was just thrown out there, the media plays this up, in particular with black men. We don't ever hear about that brother that pulled over on the side of the road and helped someone with a flat tire. Right. We don't ever hear about that father that has sacrificed everything he has for his children, that shows up at every game, or does the father-daughter dance with his daughter. We don't ever hear those stories. We hear about all the bad things that black men did, and men in general. But I mean, that's what this show is about, is breaking stigmas, tearing down stigmas, in particular in the black community, that it's okay to be emotional. It's okay. And it's not weak. That's not weakness to show your emotions. That's strength. As we talked about before, it's going to come out, but I want to be man enough to control my emotions. I want to reign over. That's my big word. I want to reign over my emotions. When I reference David in the Bible, he was a master at reigning over his emotions. He didn't let outside stimuli control how he responded to situations. I can't control what other people say or do, but what I have 100% control of is my emotions, my feelings, my thoughts. So I don't give anybody power over me to control my emotions. If I feel like crying, bro, I'm going to cry. If I need to laugh to get it out, I'm going to laugh. If I need to just look up and scream, I'm going to scream. I'm not trying to attack nobody, but if that's my way of getting that out, that emotion, so be it.
Yeah, we got.
Hey, Coach J, I'm just going to pop in for a minute and everything. Y'all having a great dialogue, but I was going to give you an example. It was actually something that I brought up on the Kwanzaa panel that I was part of, and all along those lines. But I have a younger brother who is in his, he'll be hitting the big double nickel 55 in October and everything. So he'll be hitting 55 in October of this year and all along those lines. But he is the leader of a slingshot club. I know that Gene has a slingshot in one of his videos and everything. So those are those 3-wheel vehicles, and it's actually run by him and another brother. So it's 2 brothers that run this club. They have women as part of the club as well, but they're people that love that vehicle. And one thing that I brought up in Kwanzaa is that on Thanksgiving, there's a neighborhood here in Durham, North Carolina, where I'm based at, that it is considered like a one of those ghetto areas. So they actually fed about 70 families in that area and all along those lines. And so much so that Shirley Caesar actually reached out to them to do something similar on Christmas and everything. But do you think they got any media coverage? Because that's the question I had with the Kwanzaa. They got no media coverage, even though this is mostly a African-American led. I mean, there are other ethnicities as well, but basically an African-American led organization of positive brothers that are doing something positive. And I tried to help them get some media coverage, and I don't remember hardly any of the media covering those activities. So that it's an example of what y'all were talking about. So I just wanted to come in and share that, because that's an example of those positive brothers that are not getting the coverage.
Right.
Well, no, we appreciate that, Mark. I mean, that needs to be told. That's a story that if you hadn't told it, it wouldn't have been told.
Right. Exactly. No one would ever know, unfortunately. And the deal is, this society makes profit off of the stigma that Black men are to be feared. So if you put out a positive story, then that goes against the stigma that they make money from. I mean, it's corporatized profit. I mean, you know, the entire prison system is based off of that stigma. So it's beautiful to hear.
Third grade black boys.
Yeah. I'm gonna actually bounce off and let y'all go back to maintaining this great new show here on TV and everything along those lines. But I was going to just ask y'all a quick question, because one of the things that I've been hearing people talking about, and it's one of the other things I put in the chat and everything, is that I think that part of the pushback that we're seeing is actually a pushback because there was a positive brother that actually stepped into that White House, that very sacred office, and all along those lines. And I think that the part of what we're seeing is the pushback from certain other classes and certain other races, because they didn't expect a brother to be in that office, and he was in there for 8 years and all along those lines. So I think that we're seeing some pushback from that, from some of the reactionary forces. But I'd love to hear y'all's thoughts is to whether you think I'm onto something.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, because they called Obama soft a lot because he didn't wild out, and it's like, you know, there's a time and place for everything, you know. I mean, no one's perfect, but the beauty of how he handled things, to me, is that he didn't allow his emotions to dictate how he dealt with people, especially in the public eye, because he knew that if he were to act up, oh yeah, that's just another end. That's another being So yeah, it's unfortunate, man. But I guess maybe as a culture within ourselves, we need to be the ones to push the agenda, to push the discussion of, we are more positive and we have more positive than there is negative. And we need to be the ones to push that.
Bro, you hitting on some points that are really touching my heart here, because I guess before I even say that, a more current, more recent, because this is in today's time, we talk about Obama, but that's kind of the past. We celebrate that, but that was a great victory for the Black community. But I'm looking at Coach Prime, bro.
Yeah.
I'm looking at Coach Prime, probably one of the most hated men in America right now, because he's tearing the college world down simply because he's just being himself.
Right.
He's not worried about what anybody else is doing. He's a confident Black man. He's not breaking any rules. He's just doing it the right way, making it all about the kids, making promises to kids that he's going to keep. He's not blowing smoke up their butt. If you come here, it's going to be hard.
Right.
These are the things that we're going to do. These are the things that I expect from you, but there's a reward to that. And everything here is earned.
Right.
Everything here is earned. I mean, even your number on your jersey, your name on everything there is earned. I love it. Yeah. I love what he's doing, how he's turned that complete, not just the program. See, some people dumb it down to just football program.
Right.
Turn the entire society there around. Yep. The culture of that school, the culture of the city is changing. because of his presence. And then to address what we are starting on is we spend so much time attacking the current narrative or culture that's out there, especially as Black men. We spend so much time trying to prove that that's not who we are. When I think the better energy is spent is just creating a new narrative.
Right.
Yes, you can listen to that, but you know what? This show is here to created. One of the reasons it's created is to give you a new narrative.
Right.
That's not the truth. This is the truth.
Right.
So we don't want to fight and exhaust ourselves and wear ourselves out fighting the culture that's out there when we can just simply create a new culture, a new narrative, and have people follow that. And if people are dialing into truth, then they're going to dial into something like this.
Right. And the deal is, the more you fight against something, the more you perpetuate it.
Mm-hmm.
So like you said, as opposed to fighting that paradigm, let's create a new one or shine a light on the one that is not being being observed or not being pushed out there. And that's what we're doing here. And it's very important. And also something that we don't talk a lot about as a culture is emotional intelligence. There's nothing wrong with being emotional, like we said before. There's nothing wrong with being emotional. It's all about controlling yourself, having self-control, and being constructive about how you express those emotions. And so to touch on what you said about Dion or Coach Prime, is that he's not only, like you said, he's not only teaching them about football, but he's teaching them about life.
How to be men.
Yeah, exactly. How to be real men. And he's a father figure to those young men that are in that program under him, under his tutelage. So, and that's what we need, because unfortunately a lot of us don't grow up with father figures in the household. So he's bridging that gap. And I love it. And we do a lot of that. I know you do it. I know I do it as well. With your programs, you bridge the gap between those who don't have fathers or may have a father. You're that extra guidance.
Right.
All missing in our lives. So yeah, I'm gonna say salute to you for what you're doing, brother.
Oh man, thank you, man. I know you're out there doing it too, but I think one of the things that's missed what Coach Prime is doing is transgenerational. I mean, you have multiple generations that are giving their absolute best, and they're all growing. It's not just the student athlete that's benefiting. Even the coaches that have come out of retirement and want to make a difference in a young person's life. I mean, the life that is now being breathed back into them is just priceless. I mean, he's creating a culture that most colleges need to be looking at. This is what we should want. This is what we should be striving for. But hey, man, I just want to throw some structure in here to make sure we hit the things that we wanted to talk about, because we have 5 points that we felt were critical in this intro. I mean, obviously we want to introduce ourselves and our story to everybody, but we had some 5 points that we really want the audience to understand, that these are things that we're going to hit in the upcoming session. So I'll just start with the first one: breaking the stigma. I mean, we've kind of jumped into that already, but I mean, we understand it's so important to address the societal expectations and stereotypes that are often discourage men from seeking help or expressing their emotions. I mean, that's what we talked about. Breaking that stigma surrounding men's mental health encourages open conversations, and it promotes seeking support when needed.
Right.
I don't know one man that doesn't need that support or that encouragement, and that doesn't need the opportunity to be open, to just share.
Right.
Be completely transparent. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I absolutely agree. There's a lack of, again, just the ability to express ourselves openly in a vulnerable space. Hey, Ma.
I see you joined us.
Yeah. And that's why we have, across the culture, we have such a disconnect in our relationships, romantically, business-wise, and otherwise, because we're not allowed to tap into our emotions and when it's needed, which is you can't have a relationship of any sort without being vulnerable, without knowing how to bend sometimes.
Right.
And so, yeah, this is definitely something that we need to change, and we're doing that with this show. So I'm excited about this journey.
Yeah, I just want to tear down all the stigmas, tear down all the fears. I mean, we've been taught this since we were little kids.
Right.
I know, especially in the Black community. And then I want to address that too, because we're throwing a lot out there about Black men, because obviously we're 2 Black men, but we're talking about men in general. We all face some of the same struggles. And I know some struggles are unique to the Black community or the brown community that some other ethnic groups don't necessarily have to face. But in general, men are men. Men are treated as men. And these issues apply to all of us. So we want to conquer all those fears. We want to encourage and support you expressing yourself. We are masters expressing ourselves in the bad ways.
Right.
But let's learn to be the master of just expression, period. So one thing I live by is being the prophet, the priest, and the king of my home. And I think, if more men did that, we'd have better homes. So you want to take the next point, bro?
I was actually going to ask you to break that down a little more, if you could. What you just
Which
said.
part?
Being the prophet, the priest, and the king of your home. Can you?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well, it fits right into breaking the stigma, because being the king of the house, that's all men talk about. This is my home, my stuff. It's my way, my thoughts, my ideas. But that's because they've been pushed into this box, and they're not allowed to feel or express themselves or share their thoughts or share their emotions, share their feelings, because even sometimes home is not a safe place.
Right.
Being the priest of the home is the one who prays or intercedes, whatever I guess your faith is. Obviously, I'm a believer, but I believe in the Lord, but leads the family,
right,
in connecting with our higher being. So again, connecting with the Lord. The priest is the one who's speaking life into your wife, speaking life into your children. If you're not married, you're speaking that into your girl, your woman, whatever we'll call her in today's times.
Right. My lady.
My lady, yeah. I don't even know, man. It's this dating stuff. That's a whole nother discussion, but I know that's one of our topics. But yeah, I just think a full man has all 3 of those. He's the king of his house, but being the king doesn't mean you rule with an iron hand.
Right.
You can have wise counsel, and that wise counsel could be your wife or your woman, your lady.
Right.
Being the prophet is speaking into the destiny and the life of your family, telling your son and your daughter that you are great, that you are a leader, that you're a warrior, that you're, you're fearless, just speaking life into their destinies. And that a lot of that even starts with their name.
Right. Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, a good homework for assignment for everybody out there would be go out and study your name today.
Right. Exactly.
Men, I'm challenging you, go study your name. Gary means warrior of light, soldier of light, tip of the spear, barrier breaker, one who goes where no one else will go. So my parents spoke prophetically into me every single day they called my name.
Right.
And I look back now at 53 at my life, pretty accurate.
Right, exactly.
Pretty accurate. Yeah.
So my name actually it means warrior or field of war, where obviously war is where 2 factions come against each other to create a new paradigm. And I feel like that's my life as well. I've been through a million things, breaking down old paradigms to create a new version of myself. And that's just the constant thing. So, yeah. And the funny thing is, everything that you do is called Warrior. And my first official business was called Warrior Fitness.
Oh, there we go. I didn't even know that, bro.
So, and it's from the mindset that it's not only being strong and masculine, but also knowing how to be soft, being a spiritual warrior. There's more to being a warrior than just being the one who has all the swords and who knows how to fight. It also takes the time to go back and, like you said, being the priest. And I also wanted to add to what you said. The priest not only feeds life and edifies others, but they also feed that energy to themselves.
Right.
You can't give from a standpoint where you're empty.
Empty cup. Come on, bro.
Right.
Come on, bro.
Yeah. An empty vessel can't feed other things. So you got to fill yourself up first. in order to overflow into the lives positively of those that you love. So, yeah.
Well, and so I guess to stay in that vein a little bit, I'll throw this nugget in here too. I was taught this at a younger age when I was starting in ministry, that every man should have three people. You should have a Paul, a Barabbas, and a Timothy. And I know your Gene's like, bro, what does that mean?
No. I'm with you.
But you might already know, but you got to have a Paul. The Paul is that older gentleman that speaks into you, that you look up to, that you aspire to be like him, and he has all this wisdom and knowledge, and he pours that into you. Right. Your Barabbas is your boy, right. You know, your brother, you know, my brother from another mother, you know, that he's got your back. He's your ride or die. He's your road dog. He's got your back, but he's going to be real with you. He's like, right. Man, you shouldn't have done that, bro. You shouldn't have talked to her like that. She wasn't coming at you like that. That wasn't cool. But he's also that one that's got your back that's like, bro, man, nobody thought you could do that, but look at what you did. Right. You accomplished it, man. I'm so proud of you, man. You know, let's go celebrate. Right. Then you need that Timothy, that younger brother or less experienced brother that you can pour yourself into. Right. So I think when you have those three facets, the Paul, the Barabbas, the Timothy in your life, you are complete as a man. Right. Because all aspects of your life are now being fulfilled. Right. So what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I would also say that, and those are also three versions of yourself.
Exactly.
Outside of you. So it's like we aspire to be the Paul where we have that wisdom, and then we feed that to others. And then we have the Barabbas, the one who's there, but the one who's always going to keep it a buck with you. Hey, you know you could have done better, or man, listen, that was great, or don't let them get in your head. You got this. You got, like you said, the younger brother who you also learn from. The beauty of being a man is also knowing that you don't know everything, and you can learn from everybody.
Come on,
from everybody. Everyone is my teacher.
Yeah,
everyone is my teacher.
Now, me as a coach, man, I can't believe how many times I've learned from my kids.
Yep.
I went into that huddle or that prayer, because we pray before every practice and pray before every game and all that. And a student will step up and be like, hey, coach, let me take this one.
Yeah.
And it just showed how we were in the same vein. But because of the clarity that they have as a youth, they haven't been tied down to the wiles of the world as long as some of us have, right. and dealt with life like we have. So they're more pure. Right. And they speak some truth to power, man, that just blows your mind. Right. And you just like, dang, where did that come from? But, you know, I always pat myself on the back a little bit, because I'm like, well, I seeded that.
Right.
I seeded that. I want that next generation to be greater than me. I've always told my boys that their floor is my ceiling.
Right.
I want them to do greater and better than everything that I've done. I've set a pretty high mark, but I want their mark to be greater.
Right.
And they failed if they don't exceed what I've done.
Right.
So,
yep. Agreed.
Yeah.
And without, and that's the beautiful thing about what we do. When you feed someone something, it helps you grow. And it also sets the stage for them, like you said. And it is, the goal is to always be a better version of yourself. And if we can teach others to constantly be in the state of mind where I'm always trying to grow, you see what transpired, you use our example, and then you grow from there, you're better off, because we had to go through all the muck and mire.
Oh, come on, man. Yeah,
we're here, and you're here when you start. So, and that's the beautiful thing about us being able to give the tools to other people. And like I said, this is why we got this show, just to be the ones who provide the tools for others to function at higher levels.
Right. Well, bro, that takes us right into our next point. Our next talking point is mental health awareness.
Right.
I mean, men may face unique challenges when it comes to mental health, such as higher rates of suicide. Man, that's off the chart right now, because there's such a reluctance to seek help. Raising awareness about mental health issues speaks specific to men, such as depression, anxiety, substance abuse, can help in early identification and intervention. I mean, I think about, and I'm a speaker now, so I think about what I dub as the journey of a warrior. So I start every speech, the journey of a warrior. You know, if we're talking about hope or love or whatever, then it's episode hope or love or peace. But had I known the things that I know today about mental health awareness, I mean, I went down a really dark path and deeply depressed, high anxiety, suicidal, started to do substance abuse, and just recovered out of that. I mean, I had good people. The Lord brought good people around me. I took on the ownership of saying, I'm messed up.
Right.
I looked in the mirror, didn't like who I was, and I'm like, I am messed up. So, brothers, I know you're out there, and one of the hardest things for us to do is to be transparent and share, because it feels like we failed or that it's weakness. Dude, man, I was on my knees in my living room with a 9mm in my mouth, ready to take my life, because at that time I felt like that was the only way out.
Right.
There was no other way, you know, and that was the man thing to do.
Right.
You know, that's crazy, man.
Yeah.
That's madness. But now I understand that I can just go sit down and have a conversation with another brother.
Right.
You know, that I can trust, that's going to have my back. And that's your first step, is figuring out who those people are in your life.
Right.
And I'm out here telling you, bros out there right now, if you don't have that, you got me and Gene right here.
Yep. We're here.
You got me and Gene. That's the whole point in the show. If you don't have those people in your life, that Paul, that Barabbas, that Timothy in your life, you got us.
Right.
Reach out to us. You know, our contact information will be available to you throughout the show, but reach out to us, because we don't want you to take a temporary situation and make a permanent decision.
Right. Exactly.
We want you to share. We want you to be transparent. But I believe in, if I'm going to ask you to do something as a coach, I never asked a player to do something I didn't do first.
Exactly.
I couldn't teach a concept unless I could do that concept first, which meant when I was coaching, I was in the best shape of my life. I was in great shape.
Right.
To get out and teach a defensive stance and different movements, that meant I had to be out there teaching the defensive stance and making those movements. Right. So we are going to lead in being transparent here, and share our lives, share our stories. And we're just going to do that because we want to encourage you to do the same.
Right. And kind of to touch on what you said, you know, it wasn't a 9 in my mouth. It was a bottle in my hand. You know,
same thing.
I got to the point from this particular situation I'm going through right now where I didn't see a way out, and I feel like I fought my entire life to maintain the sanity that I had at that time. And when certain things were taken away from me, for instance, my children, I didn't want to be here anymore. So I was gonna drink myself to death. I had plans. I was gonna do it. And thankfully I have a great support system with my mom and my lady, and you know, and I also went to therapy. And I feel like that's something that not only as men, but as a people, as Black people, we look down upon those who go to therapy. And I also agree that you have to not only therapists, but you also have to have that support system within your family. You got to have that Paul, that Barabbas, and that Timothy there to help you, help motivate you, help you see beyond where you are. Because like you said, you don't want to make a permanent decision based off of a temporary situation. Everything in the universe changes. That is a universal law. Nothing that exists will be the same forever.
Right.
And my mom tells me that all the time. This is temporary. This is a temporary situation. But yeah, it's, and then we take on, as men, we take on so much. You know, if you have a family, you take on being the breadwinner.
Yes.
You know, the one who guides, the one who sets the tone. And without that support system, you get bogged down and you can't see the forest for the trees. And next thing you know, you'll slam your head into some stones and whatnot and expecting something different because you don't have anyone to tell you, hey, I see you doing this. It's not quite working for you. So let's maybe try this. You know, or, you know, just someone to kind of let off steam with, where you're allowed to just be yourself without any judgment. because that's what we incur as men. You express emotion, and you are looked at as if you are soft or weak. And no, being vulnerable is a strength.
It's strength.
It's a strength.
Yes.
It takes, and in Chinese calligraphy, they take two words that are opposites to create the word that you're looking at. So the word strength comes from vulnerability and what's the term? Something along the lines of hardness. And you put those words together and you get strength. But you have to have those words that are juxtaposed to bring it together to make you a better version. You have to have the strength, but you also have to have that vulnerability to be whole.
Right.
And when you're able to be transparent with yourself first, then you're able to do much more. But we are taught, again, to be two-dimensional, paper-like creatures where we only express one side. We don't see the other side, and then we get lost in the sauce.
Yeah, lost in the shuffle, bro. I understand that, man.
Yeah.
I don't know how many times I've done that I've taken on. I mean, again, as a man, there's so many responsibilities. You got to be strong. You got to be the provider and the waymaker, and just all these different hats that we wear as a man. But man, when do you get to just sit down and just receive some peace?
Right.
When do you get to just be quiet? And I don't know. I just haven't had that much in my life, and I'm learning that now to create my own peace.
Right.
Create my own happiness. I've always looked to other people to be joy for me or happiness for me. And
right.
I'm just learning to look within and create that myself. And that seeing who God created me to be and not what people have said that I'm created to be, that I buy into that more now. And I speak into myself now more. I think it starts with that. So a lot of men are looking for other people, as we've talked about the three different men in our lives. But I think it starts with us, that you got to look in the mirror and look inside and believe in yourself. The fact that you are still here speaks volumes.
It means you have a purpose.
You have a purpose, and that God's not through with you yet.
Right.
I mean, really, so brothers out there today, men, look in the mirror and just realize it doesn't matter where you are, what you're going through, what your circumstance is today. The very fact that you are still here, I mean, come on, it's powerful.
Right.
And that nothing stays the same, as my brother Gene has just said. Everything changes. So you may be at the bottom today, but you can be in the palace tomorrow.
Exactly.
That's just how quickly life happens.
Yeah.
So just keep pushing.
Right.
We're here to support you today and help you understand. We just want you to keep pushing. Keep moving. Keep moving. Don't stop moving. Keep moving.
Right. And just remember that life is cyclical.
Right.
Like I said, you're at the bottom of the circle. At one point in that circle turns, and one day you'll be at the top. So just keep pushing, keep finding those things that encourage and edify you and build you up. And before you know it, you're at the top again. It's like, oh, the air up here is nice. But understand that even that changes.
Right.
And when you have that strength and that ability to truly assess what you're going through, it's you go into the dark valley. You go into that valley with more knowledge than you did before. You go into that valley with more light than you did before. So now it's okay. All right. Oh, I see that stone there. Okay, let me go around that. Last time you tripped over it. So this time you know it's there. So this time you get to go around it or over it or whatever. Yeah.
Well, I think you touched on a powerful point there that I cannot not speak on when you mentioned the darkness. Because there's lessons, men hear my heart, man. There's lessons that you can only learn in the darkness.
Right.
Sometimes we shy away from the darkness and we don't want to go through that part of our life. Everybody's going to go through that.
Yeah.
But there's lessons to be learned in the darkness. Learn to embrace the darkness. So, I mean, I've conquered different areas and different stages of life now. So when that darkness comes upon me, I know there's a lesson to be learned now. So I don't fear the darkness. I don't run from the darkness. I embrace the darkness, because I'm like, okay, what is it that I need to be learning now? What do I need to pull from this darkness? And as I pull that lesson down into the darkness, it only pulls me. It's, first of all, it strengthens me, and then it pulls me closer to my light or victory over that particular darkness. So press into your darkness, bro. Press in. Don't run. Fight through the darkness.
Right. And stand firm in that darkness. And like you said, get the lesson. And you have to think about, from this analogy, what happens when you plant a seed? It's covered in dirt. It's in darkness. But with life and the lessons that you learn, the lessons water you. And then you come up from that darkness to the light. So you have to go through that darkness. I mean, think about a diamond. You know, a diamond is a piece of coal that's way deep down in the earth.
It's been pressed
for years and years and years. And then all of a sudden, it's a beautiful diamond. But without that pressure, without that darkness, without that pain and the tension and the stress that transpires when you're going through that darkness, you come out a better, stronger, unbreakable version of yourself.
Yes, yes.
Now, a real diamond is impossible to break.
Right.
So
forever changing. Forever. Hey, that kind of talks about our next point. You want to jump in on our point number 3?
Yeah. So definitely, we are promoting self-care practices, and it's crucial for men's overall well-being.
Yes.
Encouraging them to prioritize activities that promote relaxation, stress reduction, and emotional well-being, such as exercise, one of my favorites, mindfulness, hobbies, and maintaining social connections can have a positive impact on their mental and physical health. I know for me, like when I'm stressed out, one of the first things I'll do, I'll grab my yoga mat, or I'll wrap my hands up and do some boxing or something like that. I'll grab my guitar, to channel that. Because again, if you just sit in it, if you sit in that swampiness of, of pain and depression or whatnot, then you get eaten up by the piranhas and the alligators and the moccasins. But if you, But if you pull yourself out and use that energy and channel it into something different or alchemize that, then you come out with a lesson and a beautiful piece of art, even if it's just the peace of mind that you gained from finding something to channel that energy into. You come out a better version. So I definitely encourage finding a hobby. I write, I sing, I perform, I hop on my yoga mat, or I may go for a run or whatever, just whatever works for you. Find that thing and dive deep. Hey, I'm stressed out right now. I'm angry right now. I'm sad right now. All right, let me grab my journal. Let me journal for a little bit. Let me map out how I feel so that I can get it on paper, and then I can start addressing it point by point.
Yeah. Yeah, bro. I mean, as you talking about self-care, that's a new word for me.
Yeah.
I know for most men, that's a self-care. What does that mean?
Right.
We don't practice self-care. I got a wife and children to take care of. My girl needs this, or my kids need this, or whatever. We don't practice no self-care. But I've learned, man, that like for me, writing. For me, you talked about the heavy bag or the boxing. 3 minutes on my heavy bag, man.
Yep.
Man, it brings so much peace.
Right.
Just 3 minutes. I'm like, baby, hold on.
Right.
Let me go throw my hands.
Right.
So that I don't throw my hands.
There we go. Exactly. Exactly.
So yeah, man, because it's about burning up negative energy.
Right.
That's destructive. Now, there's a balance to that, because I think, as I had mentioned about the darkness a minute ago, there's a balance that comes to that. As you grow and get stronger, you can handle that darkness or those negative emotions and push them out in a better way. But until you've reached that place, you got to get that junk out.
Yeah.
So a lot of you brothers out here are starting brand new with hey, a thought of therapy. Maybe I need to go get some therapy. And the answer is yes.
Yes.
I say we all need therapy.
Yes.
Especially if you're a Black man, you need therapy.
Yes.
I mean, the things that you face every day, you need therapy. But I'd say all men need therapy.
I'd say everybody needs it.
Well, yeah, I'm just attacking the men since we're talking about men, but yeah, everybody. I think every man, woman, and child that came through COVID. If you're still alive today and you came through COVID, you need therapy.
Yes.
Because that was a traumatic global experience for everybody.
Right.
So, but I've just learned the things that work for me. And you know, men, it's going to be different with each one of you. You know, like one of mine was becoming a dancer. Me, a dancer, me, and then writing, and me, a writer. I would have never thought that. But I took a 2-step class and learned to start to do 2-step, KC 2-step. I would be here at home in my kitchen cooking and 2-stepping by myself and just crying.
Yeah.
Just crying. You know, the therapy that came out of that, or I'd even go to class sometimes, be in the corner, just crying. Yeah. And the instructor would be out, he's all right, just leave him alone, he's healing.
Right.
That was so therapeutic for me just to get that feeling out.
Right.
And learned a new skill that I actually love now to this day.
Right.
So for me, it's a renewing of going back to the fundamentals of what I've learned 2 years ago. I was in therapy, checked myself into therapy because I needed help.
Right.
And one of the things that they gave me as homework was do things that feed your soul.
Right.
So I started writing, I started the boxing, I started back up exercising, lost 100 pounds. I started dancing.
Right.
So I'm kind of went through a 2-month, I'd say this last 2 months have been hard for me, dark place for me, depression, sadness, you know, because I'm living life I've never lived before without, you know, I'm not married anymore. My children are still upset with me because of the marriage and things like that. So, you know, I'm alone out there by myself now. Everything is completely different in a new world for me. So, I'm thankful for those around me that tried to give me a good experience for Thanksgiving, for Christmas and stuff like that. But it's not the same. I mean, that I've experienced for the last 34 years. So I'm just relearning a new normal.
Right.
So I'm just giving myself grace for that right now. And I'm saying that all to say this, because that's a big one for me in self-care going into 2024 now. And I'm going to, as I've talked about to my brothers that are listening, to ask for help. Now, my brother here, Gene, is a master in this. So I've got 30 pounds that I gained out of that 100 that I lost 2 years ago. I've gained 30 of those back.
Yeah.
Mainly in the last 2 months because I was in darkness and depression and sadness, anxiety. But I pulled myself out of that. Now the next step of that evolution is to lose that extra weight that I put on because of that. Right. So here on the air, I'm declaring my stuff, being transparent. But I'm asking the support and encouragement of my brother, Gene, to help me. I know you got me, to help me battle through that and give me a plan to get out of this 30 pounds so I can, you know, be the man that I need to be again.
Right. Yeah. You know, I got you with that, brother. It'd be my pleasure. And also, so just like you, I dealt with seasonal depression as well because of not having my children around. I am currently going through a divorce. Ugly divorce and a custody battle as well. And I went through a really dark time during Thanksgiving, Christmas. All I wanted to be around was my children. And,
bro. Yeah.
You know, they don't want anything to do with me right now. So,
right. I feel that.
Yeah. And it was tough. I wake up some days, just didn't want to be around anybody. Didn't even want to wake up. It's like, can I just sleep all day?
Come on, man. You speaking to me now. Yeah.
I just sleep all day. I just don't want to, you know, you see Christmas movies and stuff and you see families and it's just like, I miss that.
Yeah.
And just being able to be honest with myself about that in that time was amazingly helpful. Because at first I was like, why am I feeling a lack of energy? I don't feel enthusiastic about anything. Yeah, I don't want to do anything. I don't want to eat. I don't want to get out of this bed. Definitely don't want to be around anybody. And if I hear some kids or see some kids, it's gonna take me down. And it's like I had to kind of push myself through that. And again, thankfully I have a great support system. And I have you because you've experienced exactly what I'm going through.
Yeah, you know I got you, bro.
Yeah, I know you do, and I appreciate
that. Keeper. It's iron sharpens iron. I got you.
You know, exactly. Hey, we can only stay sharp if we got those around us who are like us and going in the same direction. So
that's right. That's right.
Everything, man. And
we'll jump into point 4, bro. You just led right. Your discussion led right into that.
All right. So yeah, next discussion is healthy masculinity. We're challenging traditional notions of masculinity that may discourage men from seeking help or expressing vulnerability is essential. Promoting a healthier and more inclusive definition of masculinity that embraces emotional expression, empathy, and seeking support can contribute to better mental and emotional well-being.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so yeah, just like we were talking about, just being able to be aware, to have the emotional intelligence to, again, acknowledge, I'm hurting right now. You know, I'm sad right now. I'm feeling depressed. I'm angry right now. That's another thing I deal with. And one of my fellow musicians, he said something that really stuck with me a while ago. He said, anger is sadness's bodyguard. And when I heard that, I was like, dude, you speaking my life right there. That never connected to me until he said that. It's like, wow, okay, yeah, very true. Because my anger stemmed from being sad,
right,
and then the feeling of what's the word I'm looking for? Helplessness. You know, like I had no say so in my own life. You know, that it really broke me. But just being able to acknowledge that, and then having those around me who help push me, help me see the light in the darkness, helped tremendously, man. Because it was ugly for a while.
Bro, isn't it a shame that you feel bad for feeling sad?
Right.
That this is a normal human emotion, and you've got clear reasons, justifiable reasons to be sad.
Right.
But in the world or space that we live in, you're not allowed to express that because it's viewed negatively or viewed as a weakness.
Right.
I mean, those are the stigmas and the situations that we've got to break.
Right.
Because that is strength. It's the man that is sad and has the ability to share, articulate that. I'm sad, I'm hurting right now, I'm angry. I need 5 minutes because I'm angry and I don't want to say something that don't mean that would upset you or hurt you. I think women always say they want an emotionally healthy man, but do we? Do they? I mean, I always wonder that because I know in my experience, more of them have liked when I was broken and indecisive and quiet and kind of followed the leader and did whatever that they wanted me to do. But I feel like I get more opposition now as I've healed.
Right.
Now I can stand on my own 2 feet. I can make my own decisions. I can express my feelings and my emotions. I'm more intentional on what I want to do, what I want to be. I thought that's what women wanted in a man, but
yeah, that's what they say.
So
that's what they say.
Yeah, so I have a plan. I know what I want to do. Am I there today? No, but I have a plan that I get up every day striving to work and become that plan every day. So, we got another nugget coming.
Well, I'm just gonna let y'all know y'all been setting the table so well and so wonderfully. Y'all only got about another few minutes to go and everything, but y'all been setting the table. I've been enjoying this conversation, but even what you were saying, Coach Gary, Coach G, I was thinking about that because a lot of times women say that they are acceptable of a man that will let out a tear and all along those lines, but then sometimes they will give you a hard time when you let out that tear, even though we know that it's a real thing that we have to be able to be sensitive and be able to express our emotions. And sometimes they may tell you that they want that in life, but it isn't always the case. What they say and what they do don't always match and everything. Because I know even me and Gene have talked about how sometimes it's all right to let a tear out in your life, particularly if you're going through rough things, whether that's in a relationship or losing a loved one or whatever the case might be. So sometimes they say that, and then you wonder about it and everything. And the other thing that I was going to bring up to y'all, and I was just curious y'all's thoughts around this is, and I'm sure it'll come up in a upcoming episode of Unbreakable Souls and everything, is this notion of a lot of times other societies, other cultures will point to the African American family and the broken homes, because we know that we have a significant amount of broken homes in that area, and they will make it as if that is doing something we're doing wrong without looking at the circumstances that might have been causing these broken homes. Because you got some people who will be like,
come on, Mark.
They'll give you this whole notion of y'all can need to, I just put it bluntly, keep certain things in your pants and all along those lines. And then there won't be these broken homes, but it can be a lot more than that causes the broken homes. And it does take two to tango and all along those lines. But I've heard some of our other community members and from other communities that like to point to our rising amount of people that are in prisons and the broken homes that exist in our community without looking at the reasons that they may exist and all along those lines. So they might try to paint us in a corner that is not fair, in my opinion. But I'd love to hear your thoughts, Gene and Coach G, around that, because I do know that sometimes people will throw that out to us as if that is something that we're doing wrong in our society.
Right. And actually, so it's funny that you brought that up, because I was actually just about to say that when you are broken and indecisive, you're easier to manipulate.
Yeah.
So they seek to keep you in that place of brokenness, so that they can pull your strings to get you to do whatever they want to do. As opposed to when you set boundaries, you set standards, and you cut those strings, then it's like, oh, I don't know how to deal with that. And well, it's like, I tell you that I'm broken and I'm in the process of healing, and now it's a problem that I'm healing. It was better for you when I was broken, but now that I'm going towards healing, now I'm a problem because I'm setting my boundaries. I don't understand that. I never understood that.
No, I don't understand that either. And the other thing that I know happens, unfortunately, in our community, I'm sure you've got some thoughts around this, Coach G, as you've been a coach and an athlete, is that I'm just going to put it bluntly, because as y'all know, I live here in Durham, which is part of the Black Wall Street. I mean, definitely was raised in this area and everything. And, there were some people that were in those communities that basically sold us out. So every brother ain't really a brother is the thing I like to say.
That's kinfolk and kinfolk.
Our community will sometimes
that
is that slavery mentality as well. So every brother that you see isn't always a brother, and all along those lines, because you got to be careful in order to, if I can borrow from a religious term, discern who your true friends are, and all along those lines. And if you got to deal with some of those other people that might not be real friends, then know that in the back of your mind, and handle them with a certain kind of caution, and maybe have that stick out there as well, because you can keep people at a distance as well.
Beat them with that long handle spoon.
Yep. No, I'm all about my tribe now. I asked the Lord to increase my discernment, because you're right. It's always been family and people that I call my brother and my sister in the gospel, but those are the people who hurt me the most. It's people who don't carry the bloodline that I carry, that have had my back more so than some that have the same bloodline as me. So I just look at the person. It's per person. I mean, there's certainly family members that are ride or dies with me and that have carried me through this journey, but more outsiders that have been there. There's more people that were within my family. My children don't talk to me right now. I still don't know all the reasons why for all of that. I haven't even had the grace of a conversation yet. It's been more like judge, jury, executioner. And I've just had to process that, because they are my heart, and everything I've ever done or built was for them. And now to be in a place where I'm building for myself, I don't know how to do that.
Well, some of that, because like I said, I don't have any kids of my own. I have nephews, and I've got friends that have been through similar situations. And I do know that, I hate to put it this way, because I know that even Gene has seen it, and I've got other friends that have seen it as well. Unfortunately, there can be manipulation that goes on as well, because I do know that there have been times that people have used the kids as pawns, because I've had friends that have had that experience, and all along those lines, where they have literally been used, kind of pushed away from the bond that they should have with their fathers, and all along those lines, because I do know that I've got some friends that literally are not as close to their kids as they would like, but they are doing things to set up a contingency plan so that even if they are not here, they will still have the benefit of knowing them and even the benefit of whatever they may leave behind as well. But I do know that there can be that pawn element as well. Come back to that mental health conversation.
Yeah, but legacy is big for me, so it doesn't matter what has come between us. My job to be the responsible man is to build a legacy. And the Bible makes that clear, not only to leave a legacy for my children, but the word says to leave a legacy for my children's children. And that's really my focus right now, is leaving a legacy for my children's children.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to let y'all wrap up and everything. But when y'all wrap up, after y'all wrap up, I've actually got a mental health PSA that I've got that's about a minute long that's in this particular banner. So I think that that's a good way to go out and everything, because it's a banner about the use of mental health and the importance of mental health and all along those lines. But I'll bounce off and let y'all have y'all's closing remarks. But I think that this was a great opening show, and I look forward to some more of these conversations on Saturday at 4 Eastern time, 3 o'clock y'all's time that are in the Central Zone and all along those lines. But I think that this has been a good conversation, and I know that y'all will be, like Jen and his mother do, bringing on guests that'll be carrying on the conversation. And when possible, I'll pop in and give y'all my insights and maybe drop some of those pearls of wisdoms, as you like to call them, Coach G, and all along those lines. But definitely, I'm glad to give some insights on to this particular conversation, which y'all were doing a great job by yourself. So I'm gonna let y'all do the wrap up.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, thank you, Mark, for those words. Yeah, it's definitely
thank you, Mark.
And the last but not least is physical health and preventative care. Men often face unique health challenges such as higher risk of heart disease and certain types of cancer. Encouraging regular physical checkups, adopting healthy lifestyle habits such as a balanced diet, regular exercise, and avoiding risky behaviors can help prevent and manage physical health issues. A lot of things that we deal with as men, we don't deal with, we internalize. So it becomes, weight that we gain physically, blood pressure issues, heart disease issues, cancer over time. Anything that's not processed in a constructive manner manifests within yourself as something destructive. So
yeah, it's gonna come out bad.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and again, if you look at the statistics, men have the highest rates of heart disease across the country because of the fact that we internalize, we repress so much of our emotions, and this is what we're taught to do. And this is why, for instance, men die 25 or more, 25 years before their female counterpart.
Right.
So this is the way we're going to unfurl that paradigm of disease and death and lack of transparency and openness and being healed. This is what we're here for. We're here to help you all heal as we heal ourselves.
Right. That's good, bro. Hey, and I guess my final thought is just to talk about our next show. Our next episode is strictly going to be on emotional health. We've dabbled in a lot of different things today, but we're specifically dialing down into emotional health. So we're going to have statistics and things that can be done to apply to your everyday life to come out of some situations that you're probably facing right now, man. So be ready. Come with your pen and your paper ready to take notes. We're going to have some good information available for you. We're going to move down into week 3 into mental health, and week 4 will be just physical health. Week 5 will be a recap again of emotional and mental health. Week 6 will be a recap of physical health again. And then week 7, can you say 7? The number of completion.
7
is our panel discussion recap. So we're going to have a panel discussion and bring them all in here with us, and we're going to talk about all these different things: emotional, mental, physical health from a men's perspective. We might even have some ladies in the show on that panel group. I mean, because we want to hear what the ladies are thinking from their perspective that can help the men. So I just want you guys to understand that everything that we're doing with this show is about you. We want to give of ourselves. We want to share our experiences that we've been through to help lead you and guide you into a better life, a more healthier and prosperous life in all areas of your life. So we're excited about the show one, and it's the show of first of many, and the best is yet to come.
Thank you all for joining us. We'll definitely see you here, same time, same bad place, same bad channel. Peace and love.
Blessings.
We are sending you signals every day.
We are sending you signals every day.
We're sending you signals every day.
We're sending you signals every day.
I'll be feeling sad, but you're too busy to notice.
We are sending you signals every day.
I'll tell you that I'm feeling afraid,
but you'll just tell me everything's okay.
I'll get real angry about something, but you'll take it personally.
We are sending you signals every day. My grades will drop,
and you'll yell at me for not trying.
I stopped caring about how I look,
and you didn't even notice.
We are sending you signals every day.
I don't see my friends anymore.
And you think it's good that I'm always home.
We are sending you signals every day.
I'll tell you I wish I could go to sleep and never wake up.
And you tell me to stop staying up so late.
We are sending you signals every day.
I need you to look.
I need you to listen. And ask me if you can help.